Guys, we're here to talk about the record of production. This is, of course, the Woodwork Experience, and it's great to have you on board. Now, this video does go out to Sam Fingleton because Absolute Legend asked and requested for the video, and so it does mean that we're going to be jumping a little bit ahead from video 16 to video 25, but let's get on with it anyway. The very first thing you need to do is crack open that template page. Now, that template page is going to sit right about there, and we're going to live our best life. Boom. Next thing from here is we want to go through and we want to save this as 25 record of production. So to do this, go File, come down to Save As, type in 25 and write out record of production. From there, the next thing we want to come through and do is change this title to, of course, record of production. Now, what we're actually doing is I'll bring one over so you can see it's a bit of a journey, this one. It's pretty hectic. Now, as you can see, there's the main heading that we just added. Under here is the next heading, which actually just outlines the basic steps that you're about to do in this table here. Now, this just outlines what you're doing, so you don't need to do every step individually, like measure, then mark, and then dock. If you're going to be doing that in a process, the marker understands measuring, marking, and docking to be one kind of process there. Now for this, we obviously need a picture. We're going to have some WHS stuff because it ticks off a bunch of things in our folio. And of course, we've got the process where we talk ourselves through, proposed time, actual time of how long it actually took us, proposed materials and actual materials, and of course that ever-present evaluation. So this is the evaluation of the process. Now, with this, it means you want to fill this out as you go, like literally at the end of every lesson for homework. Sit down and fill this out for every time because it means you're going to do a better job than trying to remember it at the end. So, to make this table, it is hectic. So let's get back into it and let's get it done. So, first thing you need to do is, of course, add in that next heading, which is step 1, measuring, marking, and docking timber. From here, we want to create a table. So to do this, I'm going to press enter there, and I'm going to go insert. I'm going to go down to this table button. I'm going to go all the way down and go to a cross. Boom. From here, we're going to come across here. I'm going to move this across to about that, I'm going to say a third. So there's a third here and 2/3 of the page coming across here. There is a good reason for that. From here, let's select that table. Let's table design. So from insert, you might have to go across to table design. You may already be there. And we're going to change the thickness to let's go 1.5, and let's go to borders here from there and go all borders. Bam. And it's going to really make this stand out as a strong, evident table. Because there's so much text and because this goes for so long, you want to have it potent. From here, let's continue on and let's add in some headings. So this very first heading is going to be called production process. After that, we want to come here and we actually want to divide this cell into 4. So we're going to come here, we're going to go split cell, and we're going to type in 4 for number of columns and go bam. We're going to do the exact same thing below as well and go split cell, number of columns, 4, boom, shakalaka. From here, let's type in some more headings, and the heading there is going to be proposed time. The one across here is actual time. Underneath here is proposed materials, and over here is actual materials. Now, we don't need such large areas for these headings, so let's grab this and let's bring that across until it doesn't want to move any further. I'm going to do the same for this one over here. Boom and boom, and we've got 2 now identically sized areas for time and materials. Looking great there, but we're not done. We're going to come down here and we're going to type in another heading, evaluation of process. As you know, it's always important to continually evaluate your process. Then we're going to come here, we're going to merge those cells like a boss. Boom, look at that, merged. Now, we're still not done, so don't get too carried away. From here, we're going to grab this, we're going to select those first 3 there, right click and merge cells again, because that's where our picture's going to go. And then finally, we want to create this WHS section. Now to do this, we've done that. Let's grab all of these and let's see if we can go here, and we can't. So you are going to have to do this individually and just go up to here, split cells and go to, press OK, repeat that process. Boom, we've got those done there. Now we're still a long way from being done, but congratulations on getting the table pretty much created. Let's add in a couple more headings before we continue. So we've got the hazard. Now the hazard outlines what the problem is, and then we've got the WHS solution. Now, once again, let's play with this table and let's move this center column. Let's move that across to nearly most of the way. So once again, breaking that down into 2/3. From here, I'm going to start copying some information because it's going to take too long to write out. So we want to go grab an image and we want to copy and paste it in, or get it into our product, into our area here, which is for the image. So let's drop that in there. Now, what I hate to see is this white space because, well, I'm a little bit pedantic. Now, do you need to fix this up? Probably not, but I'm going to. So the way to fix this up is I'm going to press enter, and then I'm going to come up here and I'm going to shrink this until it's about the same size as the sides of my thing are, like so. I'm then going to click that and press enter, and it's going to do the same to the top, and I'm going to shrink that again, like so. So now it's got a nice border around it, and I love that. We can progress to the next step. The next step is going to be adding in information for that production process. Now, here is a basic production process, which is really all you need to state. So the very first thing we're looking at here is the slab of timber was divided into two 1250mm pieces using a tape measure and pencil. So I've gone through and I've actually highlighted the equipment I'm using. So because it's handy for them to be able to see what equipment you're using, go through and get that done. Then it says the timber was then cut into length using a compounding miter saw. Perfect. It's simple, it's easy, it's quick, and you've described what's going on. We don't need to get too over the top there. Now, once again, be aware that this is starting to shift and move, so we can play with that a little bit later we'll finish filling this out first. From here, we want to go propose time. Now, for me, I've gone through and I'm just going to copy and drop in all of these things here because I can. So we've got proposed time, and I thought in the cutting it would take a quarter of a lesson. Well, it actually took an entire lesson. So we're going to mention this down here. Now, the proposed materials is very important because it shows that maybe you needed more materials than you initially thought. So proposed materials is handy. In this case, I used the same amount of material. Now, if you did make a mistake or did have any issues, this is where you can talk about that in the evaluation of process and talk about why you needed more material. Right there, you'd list the extra material you needed. From here, let's keep going and let's add in this evaluation, the evaluation of the process. Now, yes, this does take a little bit of time to write out, but that's all right. So, the overall process was quite easy, giving us an overall view. It did, however, require an additional 45 minutes to complete. This was due to the sheer size of the slab, which required passes from both sides to fully divide the piece. Additionally, the lack of a straight edge on the slab resulted in the process being less accurate and more time consuming. That, my friends, is a spectacular evaluation of process. Or of the process. Let's change that to the process. Evaluation of the process. Spectacular. Now, let's keep going because it's time to add in a few of these WHS things. Now, the very first thing I want to say is I need more than just here. And if you need more than just here, come down here and go insert below because I have 4 areas that I want to address here. That's going to mess with your table, which means you do need to come down, select, and go merge cells. From here, I'm going to come across, I'm going to select and just bring in this equipment, these WHS issues here, and I'm going to paste that in. And as you can see, it starts to spread out and make a little bit of excess room here. So what I've got here is, the first hazard was, of course, the weight of the timber. I had peers assist me when moving the slab. I can remove me there and just I had peers assist when moving the slab. Perfect. Then we have dust. A dust extractor was used. Because really that's all that was required for this. You could talk about adding a dust mask. You don't need one though. It's a table saw. You're doing effectively 2 cuts here. Noise, earmuffs were used through the cutting stages. Perfect. And you could just say earmuffs were used. I like to have a little bit more detail, but you could minimize that if you wanted to save space, because remember, you're always looking to try and save space where possible. Now, if I could get this one down, I probably would, but we're going to keep going. And then the blade, the sharp blade is always dangerous. Hands were kept away from the blade and were not used to hold the timber down. That is important, because with something like this, you don't want to use the blade to hold it down. Perfect. From here, I would say that is a great record of production or production process. Now, that is what it should look like. I know it's rough, I know it's hectic, but guys, you've got this. Once you've done one, I'd recommend coming through and copying and pasting. Nope, not like that. Let's copy and paste that whole table. add in this to show that I need to adjust that. I'm going to do the same thing just there. I'm then going to come down, I'm going to start deleting things. Now the reason I delete things is because I don't want, when I'm going to copy and paste this table a bunch, you really don't want everything else left over. So you come through and delete all this stuff, and then you effectively have a clean slate to work from. Now guys, the last thing I will want to say up here is change this all to red. Like get the whole thing red, because you want it to stand out. Sorry, I should have said that first, but we want it to stand out, and that helps it stand out. From here, I'm going to come through. You can delete those, change that to red because you want that. So after you've gone through and you finish your record of production, you do need to have an ongoing evaluation. But it doesn't need to be as long or as in-depth as some of the others, because you've literally gone through and evaluated every single step of the process. So an appropriate ongoing evaluation would sound something like this. Well, the production process was much more complicated than I ever imagined. Every step of the process was more difficult than I had initially thought it would be. This resulted in making mistakes, which cost more money for materials and also took up time which I did not have. As mentioned above, every step took so much longer than I had initially believed it would. This resulted in me having to dedicate time during lunch breaks, afternoons, and weekends. Overall, I thoroughly enjoyed making the project and have learned a lot through the process. Guys, that's literally it. Perfect. Congratulations on finishing this section, and I look forward to seeing you in another episode.